Okay, so hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. And this one, it's going to be a very special video. It's the 1000 subscriber special. As everyone says in their milestone videos, they didn't expect to reach it, and I didn't, because when I first made the channel, it was just a weekly kind of, here's an update on how my game's going, and that's it. And then one day I decided, let's do some Unity tutorials, maybe some Python tutorials, see how it goes. And it actually kicked off and, got quite a few subscribers and more people wanting to see more videos, so I decided to increase how much I uploaded. And then I got to the point where after my exams I decided to start doing daily uploads, and here we are now on 1008. I would have captured the 1000 moment, but I was actually at school, so that's a shame. But anyway, so I'm just making this video, one, to thank everyone, obviously, two, to the actual point of this video, which is going to be an FAQ video where I'm going to split it up. It's going to be properly edited, where I go through different questions that people have asked again and again and again, the same questions that get asked every single day, and I just have to keep replying with the same thing to everyone. So I decided to make this video to visually show, rather than replying in the comments, how to do the particular thing, such as, well, I'll get into it, let's wait for that. There's not much more else to say other than, at the moment, the main things I'm working on, apart from just the videos, are, one, I'm working with, let me just get the name exactly, in the server, if you're in our Discord server with Mickey456, we're working on a website for the community, and we've only just really set it up. There's not really anything on it yet, but it's live, and we're currently working on that. Also, I'm working on the Discord bot and making it better, and I'm always up for suggestions of what commands you want it to have and just what functionality you want. And we're going to end up linking it to the website somehow, maybe having a leaderboard on the website, and we've got some good plans to get on with. And I'm also working on my game, so I'm going to be quite busy. And that's one of the things about this, because I still plan on making daily uploads for as long as I can, like daily upload tutorials, and then maybe once a week, showing off my game. I also get messages on Discord, private messages from people asking me to help them, and I understand, yes, I say come to the Discord to help. I do usually respond to people in private messages and help them as much as I can. The problem is, if I respond to everyone that's private messaging me, it gets impossible for me to actually do anything else, and I'm just jumping around messages to everyone. So the point in the server is, it's anyone can help you, not just me. Other people there know less than me in certain areas and more than me in other areas. There's people who know more about Discord bots than me. There's people who know less. That's the most common asked topic, to be honest, help fixing Discord bots. Now, obviously you can come in the server and ask for help, and we'll give it. If I'm available, I'll have a look in the chat. If the other people are, they will too. But what I've basically decided to do, as most creators do when they get to this point, if they want to keep doing daily uploads, it's kind of unreasonable to do all this stuff and balance it with school and friends and other stuff. So obviously I'm not forcing anyone to, but if anyone wants to, I've made a Patreon which would help, and obviously there are all the different rewards as you go down. There's Discord server rewards, whatever. And I've now created a private thing in our Discord server for basically separate help channels that have priority help, and also voice channels for help and so on. And if you read on the Patreon, you'll see what I'm planning on doing. Now, obviously, I'm not just going to ignore everyone that doesn't support me on Patreon. That would be a bit mean, but obviously I would greatly appreciate it for the people that do. And obviously they will get kind of first help and more thoughtful help, but I'll still look in the Discord bot, if people having problems, and I'll try and help them, but balancing with everything else isn't very reasonable. But I hope everyone understands, because it does get quite busy. But anyway, let's get into the main part of the video. Thanks for listening through this bit anyway. Okay, so the first thing is going to be revolving around shader graph and the render pipelines. So as much as I want to encourage people to learn to write shaders, I understand that some people don't want to delve into that, at least not yet. And shader graph is good for people who are more on the artistic side and they want to have, shaders, but they don't have the knowledge of coding and they don't want to learn coding. Now, obviously, as I said, I would encourage coding, but lots of people do want to learn shader graph. At least, I guess it is quite nice to learn shader graph, then learn writing shaders, because at least you have some kind of knowledge of how some of the stuff works. But I wouldn't rely on it, because one thing is shader graph is very limited, and also the code is inefficient compared to you writing your own shader. But anyway, let's get into it. So the problem that people have is pink textures. Now, here's our sphere in our scene. Let's just get rid of that capsule that was there. Alright, it has a material on it, and the material has a shader. So, is it this shader? No, it's probably in a different folder somewhere. It's force field. There it is. Okay, So here's the material. Now let's just create a new material. Here it is. And materials have properties, as you know. So there's a standard shader, and here are the properties you can change, color and all the rest of it. And if you have an object, so the sphere, and we take out the mesh renderer, or at least we go to the mesh renderer, if we take out the material of it, which is here, if we just get rid of that, it now goes pink. And basically pink in Unity is the fallback color shader. It's just an unlit shader, no lighting affects it. It's a solid pink, purpley pink. And it basically is very obvious to the user, because if you have your scene and there's a problem with the material and you see something that isn't meant to be there, in your scene, the chances are you're going to have lots of stuff that are green, blue, whatever. I mean, it depends what your game is. But you're not going to have very many this color pink things. So if you see it in your scene, it's very easy to identify that there's a problem. And once you know there's a problem, then you can try and fix the problem. Now, normally, the problem with pink textures is, just missing a material. But when you try and set up shader graph and stuff, a lot of people over the time have messaged me saying that they've got pink texture problems. And obviously, they might have the material on like this. So the force field material. They might have that on, but it's still pink. And the reason is because of render pipelines. So if I go to project settings, down to graphics, you see here we've got a scriptural render pipeline setting thing. Now by default, when you make a project, it's on none. And there you go, you got your pink thing. This object still has a material on, but it's got none. It's because, at least in the version of Unity that this is from, and I'm still thinking it's on the new version of Unity, if you're using no render pipeline, you can't use shader graph code, because shader graph code is clearly relying on it. If I go and make a material here with the shader standard, it'll work. But as you see, when we have the render pipeline on, watch this, if we go to the edit project settings down to graphics, if we then put on the pipeline asset and create a material now, by default it's now lightweight render pipeline basic material, which means it's going to look okay in the pipeline. And as you see here, if we put the force field material back on, it works. So if you're getting ping problems, it's because of that. Now obviously I've shown you how to put it on, but what if you don't have that option? What if you go to edit project settings, graphics, and what if that isn't there? What if there's no drop down? Basically, when you go to your package manager and you get your packages, so you'll have got shader graph and you'll have got the lightweight render pipeline here. Now this project is a little bit of an older version, but it'll still work all the same. You'll have your render pipeline and your shader graph. So when you import the assets for the render pipeline, if you right click anywhere on your project thing and go to create, you'll have an option called rendering. And if you create the HD render pipeline, you'll get that as well. You want to create the one that says asset. You might have some other options. You just want to create asset, and it creates this object down here. You give it a name, boom. Now, as you see here, I already had it, and if you look on it, it lets you tweak some settings with your render pipeline stuff, so you can do scale, lighting, texture. You read it yourself. You can change things like that. And once you've got this object in your assets, it can be anywhere you want. And just from it existing in your thing, it means that you're allowed to then set it. So once you've created that, and then you go into your file, obviously as I said, or edit, project, graphics, and then you put that in, or you just click on it, it'll work. As I said, if you don't have it on, it'll go pink. So if you want to use shader graph or the lightweight render pipeline, and it's got pink, you got pink textures, that's how you do it. I hope this helped. A lot of people have asked. Let's get into number 2. Okay, so for the second one, it's going to be with the Discord bots. The most common thing I've been asked with the Discord bots, there's been a lot of things, but well, first of all, we have here, I've just gone to my tutorial bot, I've just turned it on, no dot, not changed anything, it's in the server, here it is, and I'm using commando, and the library by default uses the prefix of exclamation mark. So if I do exclamation mark ping, I can't remember if I even made that command, yep, exclamation mark, I don't know, hello, did I even make that command? No. Join, if I was in a voice channel, it would work. Now, that's exclamation mark. You might want to change it, or you might have another bot in your server that already uses it, and you might want to change the command prefix. So, this is a very common question. It's very simple to do. If you go up here to here, here is where we create our bot. We make a variable bot of type commando client, and it's a constructor. So when you make it, there are certain variables you can set. Now they have defaults, but you can change them. So what you want to do is you want to go to the brackets here, and you want to go inside them and put in squiggly brackets, press enter, and it's made it just like how you would standardly, do it. And inside here, on these lines, like here, comma here, you can put whatever you want. Now, when I say whatever you want, I mean they have to be things that you're allowed to change for the Commando client. If you want to know more about this, just go to the discord.js and go to, when it comes up in here a second, documentation, Commando. You can read about Commando on here. It's by the same people who made discord.js. It's like a partner library for it. But anyway, you can change the command prefix, and simply, I mean, a lot of people have asked this, but I thought I'd just put it here so people could see. You put command prefix, and then you put what you want it to be inside a string. So it's by default exclamation mark, and let's put question mark, and then you don't want to put anything after. If you put a semicolon, it won't work because it's already got a semicolon at the end of the bot thing. If we now stop the bot and run it again, and we go into Discord, there it is, and then we say exclamation mark something, doesn't work. We put question mark, do question mark, join, it's going to read it as a command. And just to prove it works with anything, I'm pretty sure you might be allowed to do a whole word if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to do this, but this is just proving it works, assuming that you're allowed to put a whole word. Did I do it as, yeah, okay, hello, join. So it treats it as the whole prefix there. So, yep, however you want, you can do the prefix. Though I would recommend just keeping it as an actual command, like slash, question mark, this, percentage, I don't know, whatever you want. There's loads of things you could use as your command thing. So yeah, that's how you do it. So let's just leave this question mark. And I hope this helped. A lot of people have asked for this one. Let's get into number 3. Another thing people have been asking a lot of is, how do you make blah-de-blah command in your bot? Obviously, I'm doing the tutorial series for bots, but I'm doing it slightly differently to my own server bot. This one I'm, making in my own time off videos, and I'm making it fit for our server. For example, all the values I'm using are for the server only. But what I'm doing is I'm putting all those secret numbers, like the token or whatever, inside this config file, which I'm not going to open. And anywhere it says config dot is something which is, not going to be on the GitHub page, which I'm going to explain in a second. It's just where you put in your own values, basically. And I have the start off bit where I make it and put the prefix, and obviously I keep the prefix near a folder so you can change it yourself. And then I've got XP and blah blah blah, and here's the bit where it's about getting the command files all in here in the commands. And then here's about referring to channels, when the bot's ready, when someone joins server, sending the message, whatever. Here it all is, and then all the commands here, all this lot. But anyway, people have been asking, first of all, how do I make this, how do I make the other? I will make tutorials on particular things, but if you don't want to wait for me to make a tutorial, I have all of this code, apart from the secret things, on my GitHub page, and everyone knows what GitHub is, at least I hope so. If you go onto the internet, I'll link it in the description, and it's in the server, github/daprdino/discord server bot. Here it is, and I've written a little description about it, what you need to install beforehand, these 3 libraries, npm for no package manager, then discord.js and superagent, and I explain the stuff, how to set it up. And if you're following along with the tutorials, you should know how to set up a bot. You just want to put this code in, basically. It won't work if you just copy and paste everything. You will need to obviously put in your own values for the token and channels that it refers to, but if you've got half a brain, you should be able to use this to make your own bot with these commands. That wasn't meant to be an insult, but anyway. So we have git ignore, which basically is I've used a template for Node, and then at the end it has our own bits with the files we don't want to include. When I upload my project, I don't want you lot to have the configs or my token and everything, or the XP and coins, because that's just referring to the server's users that it stored. It's nothing you'd need. There's a readme and all this lot, and then Mickey has, I don't know if Mickey's his actual name, but I'm going to say Mickey. Here we go, Mick. Yeah, he is working on the website, and here's the website. It's currently just kind of like a template. Oh no, here's the code for the website, sorry. You can go and look at this as well if you want. I'll have the links to both of these in the description. This is going to be, it still needs work on it. It's not actually personalized website yet. It's just kind of like a template, I guess. If we go back, inside this Discord bot folder is where all the good stuff is. These are just some extra things, the readmes and whatever. Here I have the This isn't meant to be here really. That was just a problem with like using GitHub pull and push, and Mick was testing the bot with his own custom command, and the coins files here, and it's not meant to be. But I'll sort that out. All it has is just some like IDs of like his ID or something when he was messing around. It doesn't matter. Also, yeah, it's not the end of the world if someone has your Discord ID. It's not going to leak anything. You can check someone's Discord ID just by right-clicking on them in Discord, so it's not meant to be hidden. So obviously we have all these commands so far. We're going to keep adding more, any thing you want. But you can go look into these. So like the one he made, it's a GIF thing. Checks whether you've got 50 coins, which I'm going to tweak all the coin system. It goes to the website and gets the body HTML element, gets this particular link, and then basically goes down here and it says in the image part of the embed, which is like a nice fancy looking thing on Discord, the embeds, it puts this, which is a picture, and well, it's a GIF actually, but it's a picture as such, treats it as an image, and then it sends it to the channel. If there's a problem, catches the error, whatever, and then we go to the coins file and write the coins again because they'll have lost them. And then if you don't have enough, it says this. So here's like a command, and if you go back, obviously there's all the other commands. So feel free, I'll link this, to go through here and have a look at how our bot's made. You can have a look through. I've commented most things. If you go look in the index file, I've commented most things. I have it open here, don't I? Like all the green. I've just explained most of the stuff that you might want to know about to help people, discover how it all works. But anyway, that was part 3, and let's get into number 4. Okay, so number 4 is about the music bot and getting your Discord bot to join channels. So quite a lot of people have been messaging me recently about having problems with their bot just not connecting to the channel, and they're getting the same error message over and over. And I never got this message because supposedly it's a kind of a problem with one of the newer versions, but I'll cover it anyway. So when you get your bot to join voice channels, because it isn't a real person, you need to do some other countermeasures, I guess, to make Discord treat it as a person and let it join the voice channel. Because normally, let's say for example on Skype, if you didn't have a microphone, I think it's the same with Discord, and you try and join a voice channel, it won't let you. It'll say, you don't have any audio device. Now, obviously your bot's not going to have an audio device, so it's not going to let it on, but downloading these different things will let it, work as such. So there's FFmpeg binaries, which is what lets it kind of like join channels and treat it as like a person as an audio device. Then there's YTDL core, which is like YouTube download core. And what that library does is it, when you request a YouTube video, it kind of downloads it, plays it, and then I'm assuming it deletes it afterwards, otherwise you'd have a massive backlog of YouTube videos. And then there's Opus Script, which also helps with the whole getting your bot to be treated as not necessarily treated as a person, because obviously Discord isn't against your bot joining the channel, it just doesn't offer it as like a it doesn't come out the box, you have to do it yourself. So normally you would do the npm init ffmpeg binaries, and I've already shown you that. But one other thing is, as well as initializing it, you also have to, and I'm assuming you have to do this first, I did it but I forgot, you need to go to the ffmpeg website and just download whichever version's relevant for you, Mac, Windows, Linux, get whatever version. I suppose you can use a git command if you have that, but basically, just download this to anywhere, and when you try and access it in your bot, it will know where it is because it installed it to a sensible place by default. I think it'll still work anyway, as long as you have it on your computer. And then one other thing which you might need to do if it's still not working is supposedly the command. One sec, sorry. So there's a problem with one of the newer versions, or it seems there is anyway, according to people who have had the problem. They found out that there's a problem with the new version. So what you can do is you can install a particular version. So do npm I ffmpeg-binaries at 3.2.2-3, which I can only assume is a version that was working. And, I'm sure they'll fix it soon. So, if you're watching this in the future, you might not have this problem, but it's relevant to quite a lot of people who are messaging me with this problem. So, yeah, that's how you do that. I would show you, but I don't have the problem, so I can't show you. And also, I haven't yet set up audio-related stuff for the service bot yet, but I will think about it. Obviously, as I keep saying, suggest anything you think it should do. And I'm also considering with the Discord supporter role, for those who support on Discord, they can maybe have access to more commands. So I might have, special commands or whatever. There's also the special voice chats as well. And, anything you think is relevant and I should add, there's a server suggestions channel. And there's also the comments on my YouTube, whatever. Just also, yeah, join the Discord if you want, because, it's a good community to be in. We've got all different channels for help in different things, whether it's Unity, C#, whether it's shaders or Discord bot or website stuff, whatever you want. Just come in and talk, get help, show off what you're doing, just join the community. When the server gets a bit bigger, I'm going to be doing like bi-weekly, so once every 2 weeks, like game jams in the server, where then me and the other admins can play your games, give them ratings, and I'll make a video showcasing the game. So you get some publicity and we get, some fun games to play. Obviously, we won't take part in it, and if we do, we won't submit our own games, But anyway, that's that for this one. So hopefully, if you've had this problem with your Discord bot not joining channels, you should be able to fix it. There's no other way I could see it going wrong. Just watch over my joining voice channels video, and in this one, you should be good to go. Thanks for watching number 4, and let's go into number 5, the final 5th one. And finally, number 5, the only other real problem that people have asked a lot is, and this has been asked a lot, so this should help a lot of people. After watching my Sprite shader graph tutorials, people have been asking, how the hell do you do the Sprite subgraph? Now, basically, if people don't understand what a subgraph is let's say I made a shader, takes in a texture and then it outputs it, and maybe it multiplies. You know what I mean? You can make a shader tree kind of. And let's say it's one that you're going to reuse a lot. Like, say it's a really useful one, such as converting sprites into, this material way. You could make a subgraph of it. It's like in a function, in coding, you have all your code, and you might see something that you reuse a lot, so you might take it and cut it out and put it into a function which you call. That's basically what a subgraph is, and by default in Unity there aren't any subgraphs. They're just, you make them. Though in the package I was using for my series, there are 2. And I use the Sprite sample one because it's very useful. It just basically means, you put in a texture and it outputs what you need. Now, inside this are some other nodes, and all we get is an input and an output. It does the extra calculations inside. And a lot of you have been wondering, how do you remake this in your own game? And it's very simple. I'll show you in a second. Now, you should be able to double click on this and view the nodes. But there's some weird problem where it just stays on a grey screen. If I wait, it doesn't do anything. So I'm going to show you how to remake it. So it takes in a texture, outputs the albedo and the alpha clip threshold, and if we tweak the alpha below 1, then we get the sprite cut out. There you go. That's what we want. So the way we make this node is we need to take in a texture, which is, Ellen, so sprite sheet. We select the sprite sheet, and we cut out for this here, because it's just a texture. We use an albedo, so if we did texture 2D, sample text 2D, put in our texture, we get this weird looking thing. If I put that out to the albedo, that's that part done. Here's our Ellens. If you look at that, you can actually see the Ellens inside of this. There they are. The problem is, it's going to look pretty weird if you don't cut out the rest of it. So how do you know how to cut out the rest of it? Well, luckily for us, we have the alpha channel here. Now watch this. If I put alpha in the alpha clip threshold, what does it do? Well, let's leave occlusion. If we tweak it, you can see that we actually end up cutting out Ellen and leaving her kind of silhouette, and then just having the rest of it. That's not what we want. Now, if any of you have ever done maths, and you have a value that is always going to be between 0 and 1, and you want to get the inverse of it, you do 1 minus. So, if we take the 1 minus node, we put in a value, and it, does 1 minus our value. So if we take in this, and we 1 minus it, we get the inverse. And if you remember, so basically we're inputting this now, and if we now output this to the alpha clip threshold, you see, we now cut out the rest and we get left with the Ellen sprite. And there you go, that is the subgraph. So basically, these 3 things here are in one subgraph. Sure. Here we go. If we put in our texture, we get our thing just from the subgraph. Here it is remade. There you go. That's what a subgraph is. But anyway, that's the video. I've done, 5 common things I've been asked a lot, and if any of you ever ask these questions, I'm just going to link you to this video because I like helping, but if people are going to ask the same thing every single day and I've already replied to them, other people answering the same questions, I might as well just make a video on it. So I hope this video helped. The main point was, thanking everyone for 1,000 subscribers. It means a lot. I'm very glad that I've reached this milestone, and I'm going to keep going. Obviously, it would mean a lot if you were to check out my Patreon, and then obviously anyone who is generous enough to do that, will be, in my heart forever. And also we'll have access to the Discord roles and other such things like being mentioned in videos and getting special help. And yeah, it's just, hoping to give back to the people who give to me. But you all give to me by watching my videos, so, let's not make this too emotional. So anyway, obviously if you haven't joined the Discord, do that already. Everything I've already said, if any of you are new here, then obviously, yep, I just reached 1,000 subs, welcome. You keep that number going if you want. Get more people interested in coding and game making, whatever. But there's not much else to say other than thanks. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.